Let the poker quest begin! I decide to raise it to 100 because I'm in the small blind. Big blind likes his cards enough to call, and the limper decides he wants to dance with us. I pair my ace with a marginal kicker. I should have the best hand, so I bet a third pot. Big blind runs away, and the cutoff calls. The cutoff player has been playing almost every hand, so he could have any two cards. I should probably pot control just in case. I have good showdown value, so I check. And when villain checks behind, I'm confident in my hand. Check, check on the river, and I show my hand. Villain mucks. I want to talk a little bit about showdown value and value owning yourself. Showdown value is when you have a hand that is good enough to win at showdown, obviously. These hands are not monster hands, but more like top pair with a good kicker kind of hands. Value owning yourself is when you overvalue a hand that is not really that strong by betting when you should have checked, and then you get called by a better hand. This was a pretty good example of not value owning myself, and instead checking because of good showdown value. If I had bet the river and villain had raised, well, that would have been my fault for making such a bad play. Hello, Japanese poker players. My name is Brian from High Score Poker. Today, you're going to play some poker with me. In this next hand, you are going to have to make a decision. Are you ready?
Yep. Not after you hit the tip. Not after tap. What is it? They lost a lot to the content. Seven.
Did you select option C? I bet 700 because I had the ace of hearts, and when the third heart came on the river, only I could have the nut flush. Checking would have been a terrible choice, and going all in with a complete bluff was too risky. Betting 700 put villain in a tough spot where he would have to call with only a 10. Let's go to hand number 3.
330. Stop.
Hijack is open raising a lot of hands, and Cutoff just calls, so I don't believe either of them are strong. So I raise close to the size of the pot, and both players call. Kanbenshite, I was hoping to go heads up. I have the range advantage, so I should be betting often. But I don't have the nut advantage. I should be betting small, but I decided to bet about half pot. Maybe a mistake. Hijack called really quickly. Villain acts quickly again. He bets enough to put me all in. I call with top pair because I had a tell. It's called a timing tell. It's the time a player takes to make a decision. Twice in this hand, Villain acted very, very quickly. You might think it's a sign of strength, but it isn't. Think about it. If you had a monster hand and you were trying to get as much value as possible, wouldn't you think for a few seconds? You'd think about, what combos might he have? What is the biggest bet he will call? Things like that. But he made very quick decisions which let me know that he didn't have a really strong hand like a full house. Next hand ni ikou ka? All three of us are in late position with wide ranges. Queen Jack offsuit is a fine hand to call with on the button.
Recording? Yes. Good. You recording your rules? Yeah. Have to. I'm not going to be one of those guys that always just like records my wins. Check. 220. 220. Better eyes than me?
I don't say anything, but I give him a slight smile. He's used to being able to use table talk to his advantage against weaker players. I'm not going to fall into his trap. I didn't bet because it would have seemed like an obvious bluff. We just talked about who has the better ace. And then I try to bet like I have an ace? No, bad idea. Checking is the smart move.
Another card?
I'm planning on calling any bet under full pot. But I am not going to bet if he checks since he could easily put me in a difficult spot by check raising. Remember what I said earlier about value owning yourself? My hand has good showdown value. That's it.
Okay, check. Check. I have queen. Me too. You have queen? Yeah.
Villain tells me he has a queen. I say me too, with a jack kicker.
Jack.
He mucks his cards and I win the pot. There's one more hand I want to show you. Unfortunately, I didn't record it, so let's go to the table for it. There is a straddle, under the gun plus 2 limps for 40, and hijack calls. I have suited ace-9 and I decide to just call, and under the gun checks. A dream flop. Top pair and the nut flush draw. I've been trying to get in a big hand with the hijack player all day. He has been playing so many hands and gotten lucky a lot. I decided to check and set the trap. Under the gun plus 2 bets 80. Hijack raises to 200. Yeah, here we go. I've been waiting hours for this. I just call the 200, but then something weird happens. Under the gun plus 2 re-raises to 700. Darn it, hijack folds. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to play a big pot against you then. I'm thinking under the gun plus 2 is trying to get sneaky with an overpair like 10s, jacks, or queens. Any overpair, except aces, and I have more than 50% equity. He could have a set, but I have the nut flush draw. I go all in. Under the gun plus 2 thinks for about 2 minutes and looks frustrated. He's probably putting me on a set, and since he didn't call quickly, I know he has an overpair. He convinces himself to call since he committed so much of his stack. He asks me if we can run the turn and river more than once. We agree to run it 3 times. At most casinos and poker rooms in cash games, when a player is all in, you can run the board up to 3 times. I show my ace-9 suited and he shows pocket queens. I win the first turn and river with a flush. He wins the second turn and river with a full house. I win the third with 2 pair. I wasn't going after him, but I still won a good-sized pot. I ended my cash game session shortly after that. Leave a like and comment if you want to see more videos like this in the future. 日本語も大丈夫です。ありがとうございます for watching. またね。